Hello, and welcome back to the Culture Cave. I'm here with Emmett, and we are going to be talking about Sisyphus the Myth, Episode 5. So, Emmett, get ready. There's diaries popping out of the water somehow, I don't know. There's romance blossoming. What did you think of the episode, Emmett?
It's given. This one was a bit calmer. The last few episodes of the show have been pretty action packed. So there's been the rescuing our man, Hunte Sul, and there's been all the escaping from one group and then getting captured by another. And this is the moment where I like to breathe for a little bit, you know. So
You need a little
it's
break
good.
every now and then. So this episode was very much a little break and slowly building some storyline. So there are a few points we need to talk about. Maybe one or
Of
two
course.
crazy like theories and predictions that I was coming up with. I don't know about you. I changed
I'm
my
excited for them.
I change my mind on the theories in this show every 10 minutes. Like every 10 minutes,
Yeah.
I'm rethinking the whole thing start to finish.
Yeah.
Um,
Is that a good thing or a bad thing? I suppose we'll find out by the
yeah,
end.
we'll
You know,
we'll
we'll
find
see.
out. Like Salamander Man, who the hell is that?
Oh,
He's not even like the idea of him's not even come back again. I
yeah.
have no idea what's going on there. Uh,
Yeah, Salamander Man cannot be a one-shot character. We need to learn more about
yeah,
Salamander
I want to
Man.
see
He's
Salamander
got a
Man
lot of
before
stuff
he
going
goes
on.
in the uploader. So
Yeah,
this
he's probably very handsome before he went in.
Yeah,
You know.
he was. Yeah, like, he definitely was. Like the phrase that comes to mind with this show for me, and I hope that it's wrong by the end of it. I really do, but it feels like
Yeah,
there's a lot of shit being thrown at the wall.
yeah, and they're trying to see what
Yeah,
sticks. There's
yeah,
definitely a little bit of that going on. You know, where like they have a lot of different concepts that they're going through. I'm hoping, much like you, I think that they pull it together at the
hmm
end. But I feel like there might be a few plot threads that may get left hanging a little bit by the end of it.
yeah.
I don't think they're going to be able to answer everything in a satisfactory manner. We'll have to wait and see, though. We'll see.
Yeah, like it
Yeah,
is a one-off season, so you never know. Like they could have properly answered all the questions. It's not like they have to go on for five, six seasons. Who knows? Who
yeah.
knows? So, okay. First thing I want to talk about is what do you think about the developing relationship between Hante Sul and Hay?
Yeah, it's that sort of action adventure sort of like romance blossoming where like everyone's adrenaline is sort of pumping and thus they're sort of getting close together because of that. They do have some nice scenes. Like we did finally get the question answered about where the notebook actually comes
We
from
did.
in this episode, and that was a nice scene between the two of them
But another
where like he's
question
like,
about the
"Hey,
notebook was added in, Emmett, because
oh,
hang on, we took because when he dragged her body up, the notebook was already saved. So did he literally save the notebook first? This man who knows his priorities, he saved the notebook before her.
Well, he did pay a lot of money for that notebook,
Yeah,
so I think he wanted to see it. But like, we seen Hunter so that he wanted to kind of like read it, but like he resisted the temptation. But I don't think he would have actually been able to get anything from it because, like, we seen in the actual moments in the water that the ink was sort of
Mhm.
like
Sort of
disappearing.
gone
So you
anyway.
know, yeah, like so. I think even if he had tried to read it, he wouldn't have been able to. So I guess that was just like a moment to see a little bit of Han Taesul's
His
character. It's
honesty,
like,
yeah.
will he open it?
hmm
Yeah. So, but like, yeah, so we see that he goes through the effort of finding her a replacement journal. He's like, oh, this one looks like it. I'll get this one,
Yeah,
not realizing that he's likely just given her the actual journal that she is later going to give to her past self in the future. I guess. You
yeah,
know.
and
You know?
I do like the fact that it's a new journal, and it means that it's
Yeah.
actually. So it is a little still obviously a little bit of a paradox, but it's not like the same journal is looping through time. It's actually
There's there's a start and an end
yeah,
point for the journal.
yeah,
Yeah, which is good.
yeah. I
A
like
lot
that.
a lot of shows make that mistake at some point where like the item gets looped through, but it's like where did that item come from? Like who gives it to who at what like point? So like
Exactly.
I'm glad that it's an easy mistake to make
It's not. It's
when
not.
you're writing a
I
show.
wouldn't say it's necessarily a mistake, but if
Yeah,
you want to have those sort of continuous bootstrap paradoxes of where this item come from,
yeah,
you need to sort of have an explanation of what happened originally for it to make
yeah.
sense. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, definitely. I'm like, I'm glad that like we've like because we could easily, if it was a bootstrap paradox, we could end up spending a whole episode trying to explain how a journal comes out of nowhere.
Yeah,
But it's like, and it was very easy, and it was a nice little like character moment between the two of them because
it was.
this episode we see them split up for a bit, and then they're like, neither of them is doing great. So you kind of see that they at the moment part of the reason that they're sticking together is they're both really really lost,
Yeah,
and I think that's where a lot of their relationship development is coming from. This idea that like they're both lost, and they kind of need somebody to lean on.
Yeah.
And like the only other person that either person can trust currently is each other, despite of the many secrets each is keeping from the other. Ironically,
You know what's interesting to me? I wonder if Hay will start putting it together. I'm sure she will eventually. But she thinks that she has achieved her mission by like saving him from being shot at the announcement sort of convention. It's interesting to me that now she's been given the diary. Does she not realize that if she didn't save him the first time round, you know what I mean by first time round? It's not really first time round.
Yeah.
But if her older self or younger self, or whatever, didn't save him already, then she wouldn't have got the diary. So she must be trying to start to put together in her head that actually this is exactly what always happened.
Well, to be fair, I think she is aware, at least, that like Hanti So's life is still definitely under threat. But I think she's at least taking solace in the fact that she's succeeded at the first bit. You know, you got to give yourself credit. You know, even if the job's not done, if you've done a good thing, you should give yourself credit.
Yeah.
So I think she's definitely probably piecing it together that like there's still threats that she's not aware of. You know, there's still stuff coming on. Obviously, because we are aware of one of the big threats coming to her, which is obviously our good friend, Mr. Police Officer.
Yeah, the bad man.
Yeah, he's being radicalized by the head of the Control Bureau to come kill Sohei and Hante Sul because he thinks that they're responsible for his mother's death.
That was cold.
Oh God, it was so twisted. He like if you've ever had someone in your life that's like kind of emotionally manipulative, you can really read that in that scene where like he like really breaks the poor guy down and then starts like he does like the cult love bomby thing a bit where he's like, and now we're family, we're, and it's just like you just watching him being like, to be fair, incredibly slimy, really great work on the actor, like very good, like very compelling to watch,
Yeah, and he got all the lines in, and we said there was an interesting little bit of parallel going on between that character, Police Baddie Badman, and Control Bureau Baddie Badman, and the parallel between Hay and her father. I will say before we go into that though, let me just say one of the crazy predictions I had during the episode, it was proven wrong within 10 minutes. But I don't know why. There was a moment wherever Hay was talking about who sent her back in time or something like that, and it was almost like the answer to the question was like my father, but she just gave him a knowing look, and I was like, hang on, he's not her father. Like we see there's a picture of them getting married, for fuck's sake.
I know Korea's a different country, but I feel like that would not be okay. Even on the other side of the world, I feel like there's some things that were universally like, that's a no-no.
Yeah, but very quickly I was like, okay, just forget that. We see the younger version of the dad. It's not hit, like we forget that. But yeah, there is a parallel between the radicalization of Police Baddie Badman and Hay. I don't know if I would say Hay is radicalized. I suppose actually, yeah, she does. She is radical. She's radicalized to the cause that her father wants to complete, which happens to be save the world.
Yeah, it's they both have like alternative objectives of like he wants to kill them, whereas her objective is to save Hante Sul at whatever the cost. And like it's both of them are being like forced to harden themselves to the world, whereas Sohei's being forced to harden herself because she lives in like a post-apocalyptic world, and that's possibly the only way that they're going to survive. Whereas like our good friend, the police officer, is being manipulated and like having his worldview twisted by someone who has all the information but is lying to him about it and like giving him a false impression of the world. Whereas perhaps we see that her father does have a better read on the world that she does, because there's that little moment where like she is hesitating to shoot a guy who's about 18 but like he's doing like the John McClane, like he's got the gun taped to his back to try and like reach for it and get it, and before he can like pull it out to shoot Sohei, like her father comes in and shoots him and has a little chat with her, little aggressive chat with her, being like, hey, you need to pay attention or you're gonna die. But at least then I think there's a lot of parallels, but I think the real difference between the relationships is like the affection that the head of the Control Bureau gives the officer is manipulative and like designed to make him a tool, whereas the affection that I think her father shows him is genuine.
Mm.
You know, the reason that he is being so harsh with her is because he's worried about losing her. He doesn't want his daughter to die.
Yeah.
So, like, I think that's, there's the parallel, and then you see the difference at the end between the two, relationships. Like, it's a false father-son relationship to a real father-daughter relationship.
Yeah, I found it really interesting myself. I thought, I'm interested to see this character like delve further. Like, he's already pretty dark already. Like, we saw his redemption first of all because of the whole time travel thing. We talked about that last week. Yeah. But he's already at the point where he's just like, I'm gonna go and kill all of these illegal entrants. I like that they used the word entrants, not immigrants. I'm sure there is a lot of parallels we could draw, and maybe there's a comment being made. But the fact that they're not outright calling them immigrants, I like that.
They are obviously making the parallel with immigration and like hardline views against immigration, but like at least with the Control Bureau is pretty much shown to be like unequivocally wrong in most matters. Like they're an extremist group essentially. But yeah, they are sort of like skirting that line in the same way that like we joked about it in the early episodes where they're gagging to say, when everyone asks them immigrants from where?
It's said every single episode they say it now.
Yeah, it's like, it's not from where, it's from when. They were so eager to say it, and now, so yeah, they are. And that is, like, I think that's an interesting concept from, like, a sci-fi perspective, because, yeah, like, I assume if we got to the point where time travel was a thing, we probably would have to have, like, a temporal immigration office to, like, avoid blowing up the timeline and stuff like that. So it's an interesting concept, and, like, obviously, the Control Bureau are a very dark take on that, but I would be curious to see that idea expanded on and maybe some other stuff.
Yeah, awesome. It does actually obviously depend on what type of time travel you're putting across. Like this, they could be putting across deterministic time travel, which very much means that the Control Bureau didn't really need to exist because everything is happening, has always happened, and will always continue to happen. Having said that, therefore, it had to exist because everything is going to happen the same.
Oh, also one little thing, and I don't know if it's just me worrying too much, but our kind of punkish friend of Sohei's from the start.
Oh yeah,
because at the Control Bureau they listed that a way that they started catching people from the future, but they would come back in time and win the lottery, and Sohei gave him the lotto numbers, and they know he was with her, so if he wins that lotto, are they going to catch him? Is he going to get caught?
Yeah, I thought that was so. That's a good callback to that. I think that probably will happen. I think that's really interesting. That's a sort of the setup to that, But I thought it was quite funny actually. I laughed out loud at the Control Bureau like tracking people through the lottery, like the idea that everyone comes back. Plays the lottery. Yeah. It's just so funny. I
mean, it would be the first thing you try. So like that it makes sense that would be like there's a lot of these random mysterious people that don't have any identification from from any time in the past that are suddenly winning the lottery. It's like that would be an easy way to pick them up.
Well, I suppose what I would do is I've been poisoned by time travel shows, I think. So I would actually look at who the winner was, and if it wasn't me, I'd be like, well, there's no point. I'm not gonna be able to win anyway. So because in my head I would be my brain, if time travel was real, my brain would in no way be able to comprehend the idea of splitting timelines and stuff. So I would just be like, whatever happened. I didn't win the lottery, so I can't win the lottery. You
know what I would do? I would
do it as a different name. Yeah.
You could do it as a different name, or you could do it because like you still win money if you get a certain amount of the balls correct, or like the lotto numbers correct. I would maybe not get it to like the millions correct, but like maybe get it where I get like the second prize or whatever it is with the lottery, because you never hear about those people, but they still get a decent amount of money. And if you just kept on doing that with different lottos every now and again, you could probably get like a pretty steady.
Yeah, you could get by. You could get by on that, definitely. Well, that's the plan, Emmett. If we ever have to go back, that's what we'll do, and we'll take it in turns. You do 1 week, I'll do the next.
And then we can split the money, and then that will make it so that like we're less detectable. Yep, perfect. We got it. And there's so many different lottos. So
and we're not putting this plan. We're not putting this plan online at all, are we? We're not putting this plan online.
no one will know. That's our hook for the next
Yeah.
episode. It's a come hear more about our plans on how we would survive by going back in time. Like, what would be our clever ways to avoid the Control Bureau, but also make a little bit of money
Yeah.
on the
Got to
side.
make a bit of money. Right, guys. Well,
Yeah.
as Emmett says, that's where we're going to leave you for the hook for next week. If there's anything that we missed in this episode that you want us to talk about or even to comment about, and we can talk to you in the comments, we can talk to you in the Discord, let us know underneath the thing. As we say, this episode was a bit of a slow mover. It was a bit of a sort of little bit of backstory. We did get Hante Sewell's backstory too, which we'll don't really need to talk about. I think it was pretty nice little bit backstory, but we'll sort of leave it there. Maybe we'll talk about that in the Discord if anyone wants to. And we'll be back next week for episode 6. I don't think Hante Sewell is Hayes' father, but you never know, Emmett. You never know.
Again, Hante Sewell could become his own grandfather. We don't know. Time travel's weird,
It is true. All right. Thanks very much for watching, guys. Make sure you like, subscribe, all that sort of stuff. And we'll see you next week. Bye-bye.